Ms. Lacio, you say before this court gave you a date to appear to resolve your paternity dispute, your relationship with the defendant was on the brink of ending. You're here to prove that he is the father of your 7-month-old daughter, Aubrey, and are hoping to save your family. Is that correct?
Ms. Lacio is in court today because her fiancé, Mr. Abbott, has threatened to leave her if the DNA results prove that her 7-month-old daughter, Aubrey, isn't his. She is devastated by the effect this has had on their relationship and hopes they'll be able to move forward from this.
I'm here today to save our family. I'm here today to show Jacob that he is the father of our 7-month-old daughter, Aubrey. That I have made a mistake, but I know he is the father of Aubrey. Our relationship has been very bumpy. Jacob has no trust in me at all.
Mr. Abbott was on the verge of moving out before they got the call to appear in paternity court. He's made it clear that if the baby isn't his, the relationship has to end. He has no trust in Ms. Lacio anymore, and we can't help but wonder why. Something must have caused it. Let's hear what he has to say.
She was pregnant, and we were very excited. I told family members, we went to a paternity place to find out if she was actually pregnant after we had taken an at-home test, and they had told her she was. And
now that the cat's out of the bag, things make more sense. Ms. Lacio cheated on Mr. Abbott, and it's worse because it happened around her conception period. So, is Aubrey's father the side dude or Mr. Abbott? She doesn't even know. But if Mr. Abbott knew about the infidelity since the pregnancy, why did he wait 7 months after the delivery to threaten to leave?
I had just recently gotten back together. We were on a little break, and we were supposed to have this great Easter weekend and go camping and everything. And I don't remember why we were fighting, but we were in an argument. And I was hanging out with one of my friends, and I reached out to another guy.
Here we go again with the same old, we were on a break narrative. Ms. Lacio hooked up with the other guy after she and Mr. Abbott had a fight. Then they got back together and also had unprotected sex around the same time. The sad part is, there's a 50% chance either of them could be Aubrey's dad, and the other guy is just a random person from Ms. Lacio's past.
Your Honor, she also cheated on me with him a year ago and kept it a secret, and thankful for my friend telling me. If he would have never told me, I still wouldn't know to this day. She sat there and lied to me the whole time, saying she didn't.
This isn't the first time Ms. Lacio cheated on Mr. Abbott. She cheated the previous year, and guess what? It was with the same guy who's now in the paternal race with Mr. Abbott. So she cheated once, then lied, then cheated again, and boom, there's a baby. How on earth is Mr. Abbott ever gonna trust her after that?
That Jake is with her, I believe that's only something a father and daughter can have. I know there's step-parents out there that have great relationships with their children, but the bond that they have together, when he walks in the room, the way that she crawls after him first.
Conception doesn't require intention. That's what Judge Lauren said to Ms. Lacio, and it couldn't be more true. She wants Mr. Abbott to be Aubrey's father so badly, and while that's understandable, it doesn't work that way. Also, the bond Mr. Abbott has with the baby isn't proof they're biologically connected. Only DNA results can confirm that.
So we can move forward past this.
And so you're an involved father?
Very involved. I feed her, I change her diapers, I'm there. Every minute I'm not at work, I'm there with Aubrey and the rest of our family.
How come it hasn't been mentioned all this while that they have an older son? This child isn't Mr. Abott's biological son, but he's been dad to him for the longest. Also, despite his doubts about Aubrey, Mr. Abott has been very present in her life. It would really hurt if after all the love he's given Ms. Lacio and the 2 kids, the DNA results come out negative. It would hurt bad.
The hospital, did you sign the birth certificate?
No, I did not sign the birth certificate.
You did not?
No, I did not, and that was a very awkward moment because I wasn't sure if Aubrey was mine. And
Mr. Abbott had been there throughout the pregnancy and was even there for the birth with the family. However, he didn't sign the birth certificate because Ms. Lacio advised they hold off until the DNA results were out. That was very smart on her part. She didn't want to tie him down with a child that might not be his and complicate both his and Aubrey's life. It wouldn't have been fair to either of them.
Yes, Your Honor, I did. I contacted him through Facebook, and he wanted nothing to do with it at all whatsoever. He told me, have an abortion, it's not mine, I can't have kids. I heard every excuse from him, and
this other guy is such a loser, and it'll be a big shame if he turns out to be Aubrey's dad. He didn't want anything to do with the child and even asked Ms. Lacio to get an abortion. Ouch. Ms. Lacio's fear is so evident, every inch of her wants Mr. Abbott to be the dad. She wants to move past this quickly and get married. But sadly, paternity doubt is a very serious matter, not something you can easily brush aside.
She's beautiful.
Thank you.
But I can see in your eyes that you really don't know.
I don't, and I'm here today to find out, Your Honor.
And so are you certain that there There's no chance that this relationship can withstand this if, in fact, you are not.
Who can blame him, really? If Aubrey isn't his, he'll never trust Ms. Lassio again, and there won't be any point in going forward with the relationship. Let's just find out what the results say.
Lassio versus Abbott. As it pertains to 7-month-old Aubrey Ann Lassio, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Abbott, you are not her father. Suing your former fiance, Mr. Foster, fathered your 4-month-old daughter, Selena.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say he called off the wedding due to paternity doubts.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Foster, you say Ms. Todd admitted that she cheated on you during the window of conception.
Ms. Todd is suing Mr. Foster to prove that he fathered her 4-month-old daughter, Selena. Mr. Foster, due to his doubts, and Ms. Todd, admitting she cheated on him during the window of conception, called off their wedding. Let's see how this crazy case goes.
The reason why I called it off was because it was one day, friend of hers, she wanted to go hang out, and Miss Todd told me that it was her friend and his girlfriend, so I'm like, okay, I don't got nothing to worry about.
Seems this is going to be an interesting one. They were engaged, he trusted her, so when she said she was going to hang out with a guy friend, he had no problem with it, especially because Ms. Todd had told him she was hanging out with the guy and his girlfriend. But Ms. Todd returns the next day after this platonic date, and the guy sends her texts saying he had a good time and they should do it again. That's when Mr. Foster became suspicious. So
We're back to the place, then it just happened. We used protection.
It just happened?
Yeah, she just,
Sound like y'all was planning it to me.
no.
So was this the only time you had sex with this gentleman?
No, Your Honor.
Wow.
You didn't know that, Mr. Foster?
This my first time ever hearing about.
Ms. Todd had lied to Mr. Foster, saying she was hanging out with a couple when in reality she planned to hang out with just the guy. Then they had sex, protected at least, and it happened a second time. Mr. Foster's just finding out about this in the courtroom. Whether they were engaged or not at the time doesn't really matter because they were still in a relationship.
Actually found out Miss Todd was pregnant. Were you happy or not?
Actually, no. I told her that you need to go find your baby daddy because it's not me.
So when she initially told you that, your first reaction was, this is not my child.
Yes, because me and Miss Todd been together.
That's a valid reason to be suspicious. They've been together for 3 years and have been having unprotected sex the whole time. Ms. Todd never got pregnant during all that. Now, after she cheated with another guy, suddenly she's pregnant. Of course, Mr. Foster's gonna think the baby isn't his. Of course, he wasn't going to be excited when you told him you were pregnant.
More than one time before you were engaged.
Yes.
So how'd you get to the point where you found out she cheated, but you still asked her to marry you?
No, we was already engaged first.
She said you weren't.
We was.
Were you or were you not, Miss Todd, engaged when you had your...
Now, there's one thing we know for sure. Ms. Todd is a stone-cold liar. The woman just stood there and lied, claiming she wasn't yet engaged to Mr. Foster when she had the affair, but that's a lie. She cheated on her fiancé, and now she's mad he wants to call off the wedding? What does she take him for? A dummy. If she cared about the wedding, why cheat?
Messages showing that asking him to come to my ultrasound, my appointments with me, he didn't come to none at all.
Because in your mind, you're thinking, this is the man I was engaged to be married to. We were having unprotected sex.
Well, Ms. Todd's pain is understandable, but can she really judge the man? She expected her fiancé to be there for her during the pregnancy, to take pictures, cradle the baby bump and all that, but Mr. Foster was over there thinking, I'm not the father. Why should I do that? He was battling with the possibility that his fiancée was carrying another man's child.
Miss Todd admitted that the other guy was a father. I was in Vegas. I received a phone call from my son stating that Mrs. Todd didn't have a place to stay. Once I made it back home, I sat her down at the table.
We already got that part, that Ms. Todd is a liar, ironed out. She hadn't mentioned all this while that the condom broke with the other guy, and there's actually a strong possibility he could be Selena's dad. In fact, according to Mr. Foster's mom, Ms. Todd was only pinning the paternity on her son because the other guy had rejected her and the baby, and Mr. Foster was her only option, her best next case scenario. Wow.
Certificate that you were acknowledging you were this child's legal father.
Yes, I did.
So at that point, you just decided to step up and say, I'm gonna be this child's, because listen, whether or not we determine you are the biological father today, let's be clear, you are the legal father.
This is getting a bit intense, and they've got the judge all worked up. Mr. Foster, even though he didn't believe the child was his, was present at the hospital during the birth and signed the birth certificate. He even insisted the baby take on his surname. Since he had strong doubts, and based on his and his mom's account that he isn't the father, why'd he do that?
It's been hard for you to even testify today, and I see the look in your eyes. You've tried to step up to the plate for this baby, even though people advise you not to. How has this whole situation affected you?
It's affected me by a lot, like far as, like by me growing up.
Mr. Foster had been strongly advised by his mother and a lawyer not to sign that birth certificate, but he did so anyway because he knows what growing up without a father feels like, and he didn't want the poor child to deal with the same thing. You know what? Let's just get to the results and end this suspense. The DNA results are ready.
When it comes to 4-month-old Selena Foster, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Foster, you, Greenhouse, you summoned Mr. Thompson to court for a DNA test for your 7-month-old son, G.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim he has neglected his responsibilities as a father since you called off the wedding last month.
Yes, Your Honor.
Additionally,
Ms. Greenhouse summoned her ex-fiancé, Mr. Thompson, to court for the paternity of her 7-month-old son, Gay. She called off their wedding last month, and since then, he's abandoned his responsibilities as a father. But Mr. Thompson and his mother believe Gay is the result of an affair Ms. Greenhouse had a week before they reconnected after a break.
So I was gonna marry Gregory. We were dating for 11 years off and on. I have a 4-year-old son by Gregory, and I also have a 7-month-old by Gregory. I called off the wedding because he's insecure and he's disrespectful, and I don't want to marry someone like that.
They've been in a relationship for 11 years and even have a 4-year-old. But just before the wedding, Ms. Greenhouse realized she didn't want to put up with his trashy behavior for the rest of her life and called the wedding off. Mr. Thompson doesn't trust her. What's a relationship without trust? Nothing. But why doesn't he trust her? There's got to be a reason.
Mr. Thompson, you said you were the one trying to hold this family together. For 8 years, you said.
8 out of the 11, every time I brought this back together. And she used to say it then, you only with me, or you only try to keep this together because of SJ, which is my first boy.
There's so much bad blood between these two. It's a wonder they survived 11 years together. Mr. Thompson claims that he was the one trying to keep the family together most of the time, but Ms. Greenhouse would always throw it in his face that the only reason he was trying so hard was because of their first child, SJ. Ms. Greenhouse, on the other hand, admits that she loves Mr. Thompson. He was her first boyfriend, and that's why she tried so hard to make it work.
Baby, man.
Your Honor.
Yes, Ms. Thompson.
Greg doesn't give me money. If anything, when they fall on hard times, I help y'all with rent.
You have never called Greg and asked him for $20 into another day to hold you over?
Nope.
Never.
You know what? You know what, Christy?
Okay.
What these two need is counseling. They have so many issues outside the paternity question, and you could say that's the result of an 11-year toxic relationship. Now, they have layers and layers of disagreements, and so far, they haven't even gotten to the issue of baby Gay. Whether or not anyone gives anyone's family money, or any family gives anyone money, is not the court's business today.
What I'm trying to understand is, if she admits to you that while we were off, I slept with someone, and then you decide to get back together, you know this, right? This is not a surprise to you that she was with this other person, but you're saying that's what makes you have doubt.
This couple is so chaotic, neither can let the other talk without interrupting. When they reconciled after this so-called break, Mr. Thompson was well aware that Ms. Greenhouse had had an affair, or, as he says, multiple. Still, he agreed to get back together. So why is he so pissed about it now, months later? He even signed the child's birth certificate and helped choose the baby's name. So what's all this fuss about?
I'm Kristen Greenhouse's youngest sister. I'm only here because I was there during the time that Chrissy and Greg rekindled their relationship.
You're saying you were there and you overheard something as it related to Mr. Thompson not wanting to have a DNA test?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you hear?
This is interesting. Mr. Thompson had initially refused to do a DNA test for Gay. When the baby was born, Ms. Greenhouse suggested they do a test before he signed the birth certificate, but Mr. Thompson brushed it aside and signed it anyway. If he'd been so enthusiastic about the child, what changed? Is it because Ms. Greenhouse called off the wedding?
Your son speak to you? Do you have a level of a doubt of your own?
G does look exactly like Chrissy. He does.
And SJ.
This boy has an extra large head. His daddy do, his brothers do. He don't have it. And that might sound a little crazy, a little harsh.
If they're this aggressive toward each other in the courtroom, how bad is it outside? Since their separation, Mr. Thompson hasn't been helping with the child's finances. His mother thinks that baby Gay doesn't look like her son or her first grandchild. But any which way, she admits that the couple are very good parents, just maybe not good partners.
Seat for a deposit on a Chevy Impala 2008 for $750.
Yes, ma'am.
You're saying you put this down payment down on a car for
Our
him?
no, not for Greg, for our family at the time.
Ms. Greenhouse also sued for $750 for a down payment she made on a car when they were still together. The car was supposed to be for the family, and now she wants the money back. but Mr. Thompson says he paid that money. These two are something else, really, a very confusing pair. Anyway, nobody's getting any money back. And regardless of what the result says, we don't know if this family can ever work out.
You know it too.
Okay,
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
What can I speak, Your Honor, please?
You already had your chance.
Shouldn't have been here
had
speaking
your
at
chance.
all.
These poor children.
Exactly.
How can you grow up like this?
Exactly.
You all are
How do you-
0 to
For sure.
1 million.
It's a shame those kids are stuck with a family like this. It's like a horror movie. They must be living in a nightmare with parents like this. Let's just find out what the DNA results say and move on. It will shock you, so grab onto your seats.
Of Greenhouse versus Thompson when it comes to 7-month-old G. Thompson. It has been determined by this court. Mr. Thompson, you are the father. Ms. Baylor, you've petitioned the court for a DNA test. You want to prove to your ex-fiance, Mr. Earls, that he fathered your 3-year-old son, Marcus Jr. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Baylor wants to prove to her ex, Mr. Earls, that he fathered her 3-year-old son, Marcus. Mr. Earls called off their wedding 3 months before getting married because of his paternity doubts. They've been together since they were 17, and Mr. Earls believes she's been unfaithful throughout the course of their relationship, so he's countersuing for a lie detector test.
His accusations have ruined our relationship. It has tore us apart. We've been together since I was 17, and he moved in with us, and then we had 2 beautiful daughters. And then after our third,
Mr. Earls and Ms. Baylor have been together since they were teenagers and have had 3 kids together, Marcus and 2 other girls. They finally decided to get married, and Ms. Baylor had everything planned out. The dates, the dress, everything. She's even in court today with her wedding planner. But because of what Ms. Baylor refers to as rumors, Mr. Earls began to doubt the paternity of their son and called off the wedding 3 months before the big day.
Yes, Your Honor.
You certain this child is not yours?
I'm certain. I'm 100% sure that that is not my baby.
So this had to be really serious for you to call off the wedding just 3 months before.
It was very serious.
What happened?
So, based on his calculations, Mr. Earls is 100% sure that Marcus isn't his son. Ms. Baylor admits she cheated, but insists it was way before her conception date and that Mr. Earls has it all wrong. But Mr. Earls didn't say he was 50 or 70% sure, he said 100. He's completely sure the child isn't his. How come?
born April 22nd.
Ms. Baylor, you're saying the baby was born early, and so your conception date would actually have been later than what is projected here.
Yes.
Mr. Earl, do you think the baby was born early?
Okay, now we understand Mr. Earls. The dates don't add up. Ms. Baylor cheated around July, and her conception date falls in July too. But she claims her baby was born prematurely, so the conception date was later than July. Mr. Earls, however, insists the baby wasn't born premature because he weighed 6 pounds, 9 ounces at birth. That's a full-term baby weight.
Why are you cheating in the relationship?
I just felt like he was still
She could
lying
close
to
her
me.
legs.
So who was this person you cheated with?
His sister's cousin.
So this was a one-night thing, a fling? What happened?
Oh, so Mr. Earls has been calling the kettle black all along. He has 2 other kids outside their relationship, meaning he's had unprotected sex with other women. That's no excuse for Ms. Baylor to do the same, but he was going on like he was a saint. Despite the 2 other kids, Ms. Baylor was still willing to marry him, and still is. Why then can't he accept Marcus if he's someone else's son?
Immediately have doubt?
Yes, I already knew, like, it clicked to me. I was
clicked?
insecure that she cheated and that's his baby. May I submit my evidence?
Absolutely.
Look,
what did you bring for the court?
It's just a picture to show everybody in this courtroom.
Mr. Earls admits that he's no saint. He just has a problem with Ms. Baylor lying, which is why he's requested a lie detector test. During the times he wasn't around, his brother testified that Ms. Baylor was flirting with some guy over the phone and even left the house overnight with another. Mr. Earls believes she's a compulsive liar and that the whole "the baby came early" story is a lie. He also doesn't think the baby looks anything like him.
Strong-minded young man.
Yes,
How do you
I am.
get to the hospital and decide, okay, I'm gonna give this baby my last name as my junior, and I don't believe he's mine?
Man, look, I don't know. I just know I made a mistake.
Did you sign the birth certificate?
I signed it.
Despite all his doubts, Mr. Earls signed the birth certificate and gave the baby his name, and it sounds like he did it out of pity because there was no one else there for Ms. Baylor. He had also been wanting a son with Ms. Baylor, so maybe he signed the certificate out of that excitement. But unfortunately, whether or not the baby is his, he has to deal with the consequences of signing that birth certificate, which is being Marcus's legal dad.
During the last 10 years, other than the one time you admitted to cheating, have you had sexual intercourse with another man? You answered yes. The lie detector determined that was the truth.
So, Ms. Baylor hadn't lied on the lie detector test, but she hadn't told Mr. Earls the full truth either. The answers she gave to the court were different from what she had been telling him, and that's why he called off the wedding. Ms. Baylor wasn't consistent with her truth-telling, and he wasn't okay with that. Besides, he really doesn't think Marcus is his, even after signing the birth certificate and all.
If you're not this child's biological father, is this relationship over? Where do you go from here?
It's over. She look, that lie detector test, she passed it, because I already knew she was lying to me all this whole time anyway. She passed it though.
This is just so unfair. Mr. Earls wanting to break up a decade-long relationship over this, despite cheating numerous times, says something about the kind of man he is. The DNA results are in. Let's find out if he's leaving or staying.
Baylor versus Earls Sr. When it comes to 3-year-old Marcus Earls, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Earls, you. Ms. Davies, you say that after being with Mr. Hunter for 5 years, he's now given into lies and rumors about your past, scrapped your wedding plans, and is now denying your son Jaden. Is that correct?
Ms. Davies says her partner of 5 years, Mr. Hunter, started leaning into lies and rumors that led him to deny her son, Jaden, and even scrap their wedding plans. Mr. Hunter says he's never really believed Jaden was his because of Ms. Davies' questionable past, and he's also caught her in the act of cheating.
The wedding plans, Mr. Hunter?
Yes, Your Honor, because things I've seen, I don't really trust the things she do. I've seen too much to keep going on with this, so I have to make sure that this child is mine.
So,
it is interesting that they've been together for 5 years, and Jaden is 4 years old. Since Mr. Hunter says he's always doubted the boy's paternity, how come he didn't do anything about it until now, when the wedding date was approaching? Maybe something finally sprung up that made them seek a DNA test. Let's keep watching to find out.
were you entertaining other men?
Yes, I was, Your Honor.
You were?
Yes, because Devon was out with other females.
That's not true. I caught her first, so that's when I started.
You caught her doing what?
When their relationship first started out, it was smooth and rosy. But then, Mr. Hunter started to cheat, and Ms. Davies would get calls from women about him, seeing his texts and stuff. So she decided to pay him back and got into an affair while she was still with Mr. Hunter. This is where the uncertainty surrounding Jaden's paternity stems from.
Told you she was pregnant, Mr. Hunter. How about you? What did you feel in that moment?
Immediately I said I have doubt because it was just, I couldn't trust her. So that's why I came here. I need to understand what was really going on before we move on with our relationship.
When she told you she was pregnant, did she tell you she was 100% sure?
Ms. Davies didn't tell Mr. Hunter that she was unsure about the child's paternity when she broke the pregnancy news to him. In fact, she admitted in court that she had wanted the baby to be Mr. Hunter's because he'd been there for her and they were in a relationship. But that isn't how it works. Feelings or intentions, like Judge Lauren would say, have nothing to do with DNA.
Ex-girlfriends, they were calling my phone.
You know what, Ms. Davies? I don't doubt your testimony.
So I
Seems
felt
like you all
that
have
I
a lot
wanted
going
to
on.
step out and have fun too because he was doing it also.
He didn't get pregnant, you did.
You're right.
And that's why we're here.
This is quite messed up. None of them are angels, but Ms. Davies is the one facing the consequences because she's a woman. She ended up pregnant without knowing the baby daddy, but Mr. Hunter didn't. Mr. Hunter also has a ton of instances where he caught her cheating. So yeah, maybe both of them were unfaithful to each other, but hers is the reason why they're standing in court today.
Relationship like with Mr. Hunter.
He's present in the home, but he does not physically interact with Jaden.
Really?
Yes, Your Honor. We just had a birthday party for Jaden. Devon didn't show up.
If Mr. Hunter hasn't been a present father in Jaden's life, how come Ms. Davies has maintained a relationship with him and was still planning on getting married to him? It's weird, isn't it? You have a son, you believe your boyfriend is his father, your boyfriend doesn't treat him like a son, yet you're devastated when he calls the wedding off.
Oh, Ms. Davies, I heard you just say I know for certain I have proof.
I have evidence right here.
Jerome, may I see that?
Look at Mr. Hunter's hair and look at my son's hair. They both have curly hair, nice hair.
Ms. Davies' evidence that Mr. Hunter is the father of her son includes pictures of their hair and height. She's saying that Mr. Hunter and Jaden have the same hair, and that Jaden is taller than the average 4-year-old, so he must have inherited his height from Mr. Hunter, who is also very tall. The other man in question isn't tall, and she isn't either. They also stand the same way, and Ms. Davies believes all these traits are biological.
Hunter, if today's results prove that you are not Jaden's father, where do we go from here?
I'm done. I'm done with the marriage and everything. I'm just washing my hands with everything.
And if you are you gonna try to?
If Jaden's not Mr. Hunter's son, He is walking out of the relationship and their lives. Ms. Davies agrees. But if the tests come out positive, they'll try to work on their relationship. Can they get past this though? Both of them do not trust each other, and both of them are also cheats. Maybe marriage will change them. Who knows? Let's find out what the results say.
Mr. Hunter, you are not the father.
I told you.
I'm very
Told
sorry.
you.
Ms. Lohman, you are in court today hoping and praying your fiance, Mr. Mitchell, is the biological father of your daughter, London. And you and your mother are here to prove it. You say today's DNA results will determine the future of your family.
Ms. Lohman is in court today to prove that her fiancé, Mr. Mitchell, is the father of her daughter London. Mr. Mitchell would love to find out he's London's father, but believes he's not. If the results prove that he isn't, he's calling off the wedding, which is coming up next month.
Your Honor, when me and Jonathan got together, I was very happy. We got engaged January of last year, and if London is not to become of Mr. Mitchell, then our wedding is going to be off, and that's going to, it's really going to upset me.
These two look very young. They started dating in high school when Mr. Mitchell moved in with Ms. Lohman and her family. Eventually, the relationship got serious, and they got engaged. The wedding's supposed to be next month, but now there's a baby daddy issue. Mr. Mitchell's cousin says Ms. Lohman has admitted that she was unsure about the child's paternity to Mr. Mitchell.
Relationship now turned to more than a friendship.
Yes, Your Honor.
But you're still in a relationship with this boyfriend at the time. Am I correct, Ms. Lohman?
Yes, Your Honor.
So what was that situation like?
He never found out, and to this day, he still doesn't know.
Ms. Lohman was in a sexual relationship with both Mr. Mitchell and her ex didn't know about it and still doesn't. When she found out she was pregnant, because she was still with her ex at the time, she believed the baby was his, and he also thought so. However, after they were done, she began to consider the possibility that Mr. Mitchell could be the father too.
Lohman, how did you finally tell Mr. Mitchell that you thought the baby could potentially be his?
When I was about 6 weeks, I had went to the doctor and confirmed that I was pregnant. And then on my second doctor's appointment, I asked, do you know?
So, Ms. Lohman was actively shuffling between two men, having unprotected sex with both of them. And now, she's trying to decide her child's paternity based on some strange calculations about how many times she slept with each man. If only it worked like that, huh? If only.
Blue eyes.
And so all through this pregnancy, who's helping you?
Mr. Mitchell is.
So you're with her through this pregnancy?
Yes,
and you're there when the baby's born?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you sign the birth certificate?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor. At the time, I was confused as to who the father was.
London and Mr. Mitchell share the same dark blue eyes, which is one reason Ms. Lohman is convinced he's the father. He was also there for her throughout the pregnancy and even during the birth. However, due to the uncertainty surrounding the paternity, he didn't sign the birth certificate. His cousin is right. Mr. Mitchell has become so attached to London and has been playing a fatherly role in her life since day one. If this uncertainty continues for much longer, and it turns out London isn't his daughter, the emotional toll on everyone involved will be even greater. The sooner they find out the truth, the better for all of them.
Is 10 months old, and Mr. Mitchell, you say you've bonded with this baby.
Yes, Your Honor.
How so? Explain to the court.
I love her to death. She's amazing.
She's amazing, you say.
Yes, Your Honor.
He has been there from day one. He takes care of her, he watches her, he
Exactly. No amount of love or emotional attachment can change the fact that biology and facts are what matter here. The conception date is the only real clue. But as you pointed out, she was sleeping with both men around that time, so it's impossible to pin down for sure. At the end of the day, it's the DNA test that will provide the answer, and no amount of wishful thinking or calculations can alter that.
X doing?
Absolutely nothing with his life.
We have no idea where he's even at.
I have no contact with him. I even tried to speak to his father, and his father has no idea. He hasn't seen him in 6 months.
Oh, goodness.
We don't know where he's at.
He will not talk to me.
Ms. Lohman is in a tight spot here. The other guy is nowhere to be found and has blocked her from reaching him. Mr. Mitchell has threatened to leave if London isn't his. So, if it turns out she isn't, what's Ms. Lohman going to do? Who's going to fill the fatherly role in her daughter's life?
How do you feel as you hold London? To have so much love for this baby, but have so many questions?
I've been there for her the whole time, just taking care of her, so I've grown attached, and I don't know if she's mine or not, though.
So, as much as you are hoping she is, the truth is you really don't know.
I really don't know.
Right.
I want to know, though.
Well, I think I've heard all that I need to hear. Jerome, I'm ready for the results.
And so are we. Is Ms. Lohman going to be a wife or a single mom? Is she going to live the rest of her life alone or build a loving family for her child? Let's find out. The DNA results are in, and they are absolutely shocking.
Case of Lohman versus Mitchell. When it comes to 10-month-old London Leona Lohman It has been determined by this court. Mr. Mitchell, you are not the father.